Vanessa from Real Fly Girl Reads, and welcome back to my channel. This is the third time I'm going to have to shoot this video. We are going over my April reads. Hopefully this is the last time, fingers crossed, and let me grab my list. In total, I've read like 8 books in April, which is really good for me. If I have a decent reading month, usually I average about like 6 books a month. Tearing. Allergies. But yeah, usually I average like 6 books a month, which wasn't really happening this year. I started off a little rough, but we have picked it up, and we really picked it up. April was nothing but bangers. I can honestly say my reading average, I think, was 4.7. I think 4.7. We're gonna go with that, because we don't have anything less than a 4-star on this list, and we will get into it. The very first book I read in April was Whiskey Business by Elle Fletcher. She is a new-to-me author, and this is the first book in a series that follows, I think, 3 or 4 brothers, and a sister also. The Maccabee brothers, I think, is a series. I wrote it down. Yes. And I gave it a 4-star. This is a grumpy sunshine. I can't say childhood friends because they kind of weren't friends, but it is best friend's brother. We have April, who is from a small Scottish town, and she moved away a long time ago to become a star. She became a very big actress until it all imploded. It all went to crap, and now she is running back home after trying to revive her career, and it's not quite working. And when she is coming home to something that was left for her, she has a distillery that was left to her from her grandfather. Her grandfather, who was her last remaining grandparent and the person who raised her, left her distillery in the will. So she goes home, and when she goes home to the distillery, she finds, oh my god, what is his name? Malcolm. She finds Malcolm. They call him Mal. She finds Mal, and he has been working on the distillery since she was a teenager. He's a little bit older than her. That is her best friend's older brother, and she's happy to see him. He is not happy to see her. Mal thought very highly of her grandfather, and the distillery was his home. Mal is super awkward. He went through a lot as a kid. Had to go through several surgeries to repair a cleft palate. He had a really big cleft palate, like really, really bad. It took several surgeries, and it kind of made him adverse to people, and he's not very confident in his speech because he had to go through several speech classes. So he has found his home on that distillery. His grandfather was like practically like a second father to him, and he feels like April is coming home to take the distillery from him. He was paying her grandfather to eventually own it one day, but surprisingly it was left to April, and he is sour about that, so he treats her accordingly. He's very, very rude to her when she comes home, and she tries to brush it off, like she did all the scandal and everything that's happened in her career, and act like it doesn't bother her, and just come off like super sunshiny and happy. And it's not always working with Malcolm, because he is intent on being rude to her while also fighting off a bit of a childhood crush. And I love a good grumpy sunshine, especially when the grump is done right. I do not like mean men. Like, I don't like mean men in my romances. Like, grump, I could take. Like, bad manners a little bit, I could take. But he was, like, never disrespectful to April. Just very unwelcoming. And she wore him down. She wore him down over time. And kind of got back to familiarity. She got back to familiarity with her friends and with her home. And she's contemplating whether or not she wants to stay and do her grandfather proud and get close to Mal. It is a slow burn. They do not hunch until the second half of the book. And they have a very, very, very good semi-public scene where they leave a party and do things in a barn. I'm a big fan of that. So, yeah. Definitely a 4-star read. I think I gave it like steam levels like 4 out of 5. We definitely plan on continuing with the series. And let's move on to the second book, which is Scorched Skies by E.J. Mello. Hold on, I have a copy of this. This was an arc that I signed up for because I am a fan of E.J. Mello. I haven't read her entire backlist. I've only read, I think she has maybe 2 or 3 series. 2 series? I read her second series before this one that is surrounded by a group of sisters who are part of a magic secret society. I actually have 2 out of the 3 books which is super annoying. I haven't found the third book yet. I did not buy these new. I think this one is new, and then this one I bought. No, this one I bought secondhand, and this one is new. But yeah, I do plan to source the third books. I do love the series, and do plan to reread it. They're very different. This one's kind of cozier. It's not like super duper like high stakes, and this one is more of a traditional high fantasy. I gave it. Did I give this a 4? I gave it 4.5 stars, and because the writing is so good. When she first said she was releasing this one, I was a little skeptical because it is based off the Greek myth of Icarus, and I'm a little iffy about Greek mythology retellings. I feel like they are overdone and saturated and watered down. And it definitely waters down the culture a bit. And I was like, but I love this author, so I was like, alright, let me sign up for the arc. I am so surprised. This might be inspired by Greek myth, but it has its own pantheon of gods. It has its own pantheon of gods. She created her own lore. I was so hyped once I opened it and saw, like, kind of the breakdown of the gods. And this follows 2 characters. You have Zoya, who is the MMC, and I think her name is Tan Wen, who is the FMC, and they are from 2 different species. Zoya's species rules over her species. He is favored by, like, the higher gods. And her species is, like, kind of ruled by, like, the lower gods. His species has wings and lives in an island in the sky, and she lives on the ground in hiding because what Tenwen doesn't want anyone to know is that her and her brother are the products of race mixing between Zoya's race and her race, and that isn't allowed at all. So her parents have been hiding them their entire lives and have not allowed them to socialize or interact with people. So eventually, Zoya finds his way into Tanwen's village on the ground, looking for her father, because Tanwen's father was the king's, his engineer, before he got banished and had his wings taken away. They took off his wings, which is crazy. And mainly for sympathizing with Tanwen's mother's people. I don't remember the names of the races. I read this like over a month ago, but yeah, for sympathizing with her people. And now the king wants him back. The king has a project for him. The king is greedy. He's looking for money. He's looking for resources. And he needs Tanwen's father. And Zoya does find Tanwen's father and takes him away. And her brother. Tanwen and her mother was hiding, but the brother and father were discovered. And they were taken away. And Tanwen is deciding to go after them with the blessing of a lower god. Because the lower and the higher gods, they have beef. There was a whole war. I'm pretty sure it gets more into it into the second book. Did I mention that this is a duology? I'm pretty sure it gets more into it in the second book. It's supposedly enemies to lovers. It's really not enemies to lovers. That is my gripe with this book. I did love the world building. I did love the story, but they were pretty much together in this book. Like, she trusted him way too fast. Even though he, like, showed her kindness and showed that he was not as cruel as other people. Like, in his race, he didn't look down on her like other people or like his father, but he still did his father bidding. Like, this is the man that took your brother and your father. And she shouldn't have trusted him as fast as he did. I don't know what the second book's going to look like, romance-wise. Very here for the story. But yeah. Not really convinced on the romance part. But let's move over to book 3 before this video gets super duper long. Because the first time I filmed it, it was almost 40 minutes. We're not going to let that happen again. Third book is a book that was on my TBR forever. And it is Ella Gets a D by, I think her name is Tanvir Pert. I tried to look up a phonetic spelling for her name. Didn't find one, so I hope I pronounced that right. Another new to me author. And I gave this book 4 stars. Whereas in the last book, the plot carried me and I wasn't really feeling like their interaction with the characters. In this book, the characters outside the main characters are what carried it, because this is another romance where I feel things move too fast. Kind of. I'll explain what I mean. So this is a divorced single mom's best friend's brother. Reverse age gap. You have Ella, who is, I think, almost 40, like in her late 30s. And she has been a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids. And in the beginning of the book, she finds her husband cheating in their bed, which is gross. finds him cheating, and she's like, nope, we're not doing this, and runs away immediately. Runs straight to her best friend. And her best friend, who is kind of like, don't worry about it. Like, Ella doesn't really have a lot of money. She doesn't really have any place to go. She's been like at home for years raising her kids. And she kind of doesn't really have much work experience either. But her best friend's like, don't worry about it. Like, while you get your like things together, you can stay at my family's townhouse. Her best friend's family has money. So you can stay at this townhouse. It's no imposition on my part. What her best friend doesn't tell her is the townhouse is technically owned by her younger brother, who works in the family business but runs like the cross seas office in London. And he comes home. He decides he's sick of the London scene and all the women over there and everything, and he decides to come home and finds a strange woman in her bed with a very fun meet cute. That creates a very, very fun meet cute because two strangers in the same bed, not knowing why. Why is this stranger in the bed? Very funny. But she kind of falls for him. They fall for each other. Ella and what is his name? Julian. Ella and Julian fall for each other like dumb fast. He's super into her. She's super into him. But the thing that is keeping them apart is not even like, even though Ella's skeptical because she's just getting out of divorce and he's younger than her, she's kind of like still inching towards him a little faster than I thought she would. She's not skeptical enough for me coming out of a divorce for years. I think well over a decade she was married. And Julian is not skeptical as I thought he'd be. Like, this stranger, this woman of two who she's not even officially divorced yet, they're like super into each other. He literally, like, he early was like, nope, I should stay away from her. And then just as fast was like, no, actually, I'm in love with her. I want to be with her. And the only thing keeping them apart is because Ella does not want her still current husband to find out and try to use this against her in the divorce proceedings, because he has money, he has resources, and right now all she has is proof that he cheated because there were cameras in the house. And she does not want to draw out this long fight in the courts. So that's what's keeping them apart. But they keep like finding roundabout ways and hooking up without hunching, and it's a whole thing. But where the romance wasn't like at a great pace, the side characters were dope. Like Ella's family, Julian's family, even the ex-husband's family. Super funny characters, lots of personality, even the kids. This is definitely what gave this book a 4-star. And I think there's more like romances surrounding the characters in this book. I'm not sure, but I do plan to read more by this author. And what's next? Oh, so if you watched my May TBR, you know that in April I rediscovered Mariana Zapata, who I swore I was never ever gonna read again because she writes the slowest of slow burns where people do not hunch until like the last second of the book. But I don't know if it's like age or maturity or whatever. I found myself wanting those books a lot more, like the yearning and the drawn out, like maybe I want to be with him, but like not like contrived drama, but like true like finding their way to each other taking a while. And because I've been wanting that, I picked up The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. And boy, oh boy, do I love me some Aiden. Do I love me some Aiden. He's another grump. And we have a couple of grumps on this list. He is another grump. And this romance is between him and Vanessa, who is his assistant. And you start off the book kind of Vanessa not wanting to work for him anymore. Aiden's kind of always been standoffish, no matter how friendly she's been, no matter how helpful she's been towards him. He's been very standoffish. And it's kind of like treated her like meh. And in the last few weeks, it's been ramped up. He's not only just been meh, he's been downright like rude to her. Downright rude to her. And she's like, I've had it. I'm not even giving him 2 weeks. I'm out. And she bounces. What she does not expect is he comes after her. And he's like, I want you to work for me again. I don't want another assistant. I want you. And she's like, you don't even like me. You don't even like me at all. And he's like, I like you well enough. Which is not what you want to hear from somebody she's always kind of had a crush on. And she rejects him. But he comes back. And he comes back with a different offer. Because his work visa is about to run out. He is... Did I mention it was a sports romance? He's a football player, but he is from Canada. And unfortunately, his work visa is running out, and it's tied to his current team, who he no longer wants to play for. The second, his contract is up with them, which is when the visa ends, he wants to find somewhere else to go. And he's like, hey, I know you. Why don't we just get married? And she's like, immediately no. But he offers her money in the house. And Vanessa's in debt. She's had a really crappy home life. Drunk mother was never there, never knew her father. Her older siblings are terrible. And the only sibling she talks to is her younger brother. Her child life was so bad, she eventually did end up in a foster home with her brother. However, she does not want to go to her foster parents with her money problems. And here is this guy, who she's not super fond of anymore, offering her some money. So eventually, she does kind of be like, I'll do it. But she draws boundaries. She will not be his assistant anymore. And that's where the line draws between them. And it blurs pretty quickly, because she finds Aiden likable. Is he standoffish? Yeah. Can he come off rude because he's a little socially awkward? Yeah, but she tends to really like him. And him seeing that the way he's treated her in the past is unfair, he makes the effort to show up for her. And he is committed to playing his part as husband. He won't let anybody disrespect her. He even gets into a fight with a member on his team. He gets in the face of one of her sister's husbands when she goes home, and they kind of have a conflict. He is hell-bent on defending and protecting her, and that breaks the walls down. And now she finds herself slowly falling in love with him. But the thing is, we don't get his point of view. So although you can tell, he's getting more attached to her, the way he shows up for her, and you're like, oh my god, he's in love with you. She's like, this is fake. It'll be over in a few years. I can't fall in love with him. And you're dying. You're dying the whole time. You're like, girl, bye. This man is clearly in love with you. And it takes that long. It takes the entire book. But it was worth it. 5 stars. And let's move on to book number 6. Paladin's Hope by T. Kingfisher. Another author I have found myself reading obsessively recently. This is the 3rd book in that series. I think it's the Saint of Steel series. And if you don't know anything about the Saint of Steel series, it follows a group of paladins. They work under the god of steel. They do his bidding and fight his battles, all up until their god dies. And they don't know how their god dies. They didn't even know a god could die. But their god is dead, and it really broke all of them. All of them who are left, because when God died, they kind of all went berserk. And usually the god controls that. But now that he's gone, a lot of them killed can I say that on YouTube? A lot of them unalived each other, unalived themselves, and it broke a lot of them. And those who are left are hanging on by a thread. They deal with a sense of loss, a sense of unworthiness, and you go through each book with an individual character. And this one is Shane's book. This is an MM romance between Shane. You see him a little in book 1, mostly in book 2, and I can't say it affected him the most when the guy died, but he's the one whose kind of killer instincts are out of the control the most, and he is afraid that he will hurt people, so he does not have serious relationships. And then you have Piper, and Piper is the coroner from book 1. You don't really see him in book 2, but Piper is awkward, and you see I love an awkward man, apparently. Piper is awkward, and he prefers to work with the dead because he is no good with the living. But also, he has a bit of a secret power that he tries to keep to himself. And the two of them find themselves working on a case together, which sends them on a bit of an adventure, and they end up in a very, very sticky situation, but it's also, forced proximity. And you kind of see them awkwardly fumble into, their attraction to each other, all while these very deadly, very disturbing things, are happening. And I gave it 4.5 stars. Solid. I do plan on reading, I am currently reading the 4th book in that series. It is the only last one that is out, but I don't think it's the last one in the series. Hopefully not, because there's a cliffhanger in that book 3, that hasn't been addressed yet in book 4, and I'm like, maybe she's waiting for a 5th book, hopefully. Fingers crossed. 10 minutes left, and we got 2 books, so let's blaze through these. The second to last book I read is a favorite author of mine, and probably one of my most read authors. It's a book by Serena Bowen, Good as Gold, and it is the first in a new series, which I didn't realize was connected to her True North series, because I didn't finish her True North series, and this is like a continuation of that. So you see like characters whose books I did not read having like living their happily ever after in this book, and now I gotta go back. It's on my TBR for this month. I've got to go back. But this one is about Mateo. If you read like the True North series, I think Zara, I think her name is Zara. She has a book in the True North series. And she has a ton of brothers who also have books in that series that I have not read. But this brother does not. This is this brother's book. His name is Mateo. I think he is her oldest brother. And it is between him and his childhood friend Layla. And it's also the ex. She's also the ex of his other friend, their other childhood friend, Rory. She just got divorced from Rory when Mateo kind of comes back in town. He hasn't been in town for over a decade. They have seen each other maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, but that was the last time. Once he found out that Layla and Rory got married, he saw his way out. He decided, I'm not coming home ever again. I don't want to see that. Much to, like, the anger of his family, who has really missed him. But yeah, he's back in town. It's his I think the brother right after him. I think it's his wedding that Mateo returns for. And when he gets home, he finds Layla is also in the bridal party, and he can't avoid her. And she doesn't want to avoid him at all. She, in fact, the second the wedding is over, gets up and gets in his face and wonders why he has not come home, not knowing that she is the reason that he has been in love with her forever. And honestly, she's kind of been in love with him too. He was her first choice over Rory before he ran off to go live a different life. And Rory was all she had left. I think his name was Rory. I'm gonna keep calling him Rory. But yeah, Rory was all she had left, and what she doesn't know is that Mateo and Rory had made a pact back when they were like teenagers that neither one of them were good enough for her, so neither one of them was going to date her. And we see that once Mateo left, Rory did not uphold that part. But now they are divorced, and Rory's being a butthole in public to Layla. Layla has always wanted kids. Rory did not. That was kind of like the last. Oh no, and I think he cheated. That might have been the last straw for the divorce. So now that Mateo's back, he's helping her pick up the pieces, and she's falling back in love with him. And she's like, "Dang, I really want a baby. How about we have a baby?" And at first, Mateo's like, "Well, ma'am, I shouldn't be anybody's father." But he doesn't want anybody else to do it, so he offers to do it for Layla, and he suggests that they do it the old-fashioned way. This is also a book where the characters, the side characters, because I know them, carried it. The romance, I wish there would have been like more reluctance between these two people who haven't seen each other in forever. Like, more reluctance. I wish they hadn't fallen back into it so easy. But all the characters, seeing his family, we didn't see the other family that's a part of True North series. That would have been cool though. So hopefully they come up in the later books, because I do plan on reading them. It is, I think, a trilogy. I think, because this series follows Layla's siblings, and I think she has an older brother and a younger brother, or 2 older brothers. I don't know, but I do plan on reading it. I love Serena Bowen. She does write very good. This is like a small time series, but she also does write really good, like, hockey romances, and all her series are kind of in the same universe and overlap a little bit, so you're gonna get confused on reading order, but I suggest you read it. And let's get to the last book, another Mariana Zapata. I'm eating my words so bad right now because I gave another one of her books 5 stars, and this one was Culty, which I'm super duper late to because this book came out like 10 years ago. And it's another super slow burn between a coach and an athlete, and you don't get these a lot in romances. Like, you'll get coach's daughter or, like, owner athlete, but you do not get it between, like, a coach and athlete. And I'm happy we did, because this is between Sal and Mr. Rainer Culty. And they are both, like, Culty is a legend. Soccer legend. Did I mention sports romance? Soccer legend. And Sal has kind of worshipped him most of her life. Well, at least most of her teen years. Until something happens between Sal's older brother and Colty, because they're both soccer players, on the field that leaves her brother super injured. And she has not looked at him the same since. However, he is still great, and he's still about to coach her team. She plays for a women's soccer team in the U.S., and she is kind of one of the best to do it right now. And now she has this guy she's always looked up to coaching her, and he is a butt munch. He is a butt munch. He is rude. He is borderline too rude for me. Like, almost. Like, I wanted to punch him in the face, but I kind of wanted to punch Aiden in the face too, so maybe that's just the thing for me. Maybe it's the kink. I don't know. But, yeah, he's super rude to her. And when he does acknowledge her, because most of the time, he doesn't acknowledge any of the girls on the team. And he super doesn't acknowledge her. Until eventually one day, they have an incident. That's spoilers. I'm not going to cover that incident where she does help him out. And in return, he kind of is just a butthole to her. But then they have another incident where he is rude to a fan, and she confronts him, calls him a bratwurst, and she reads him his rights. She reads him his rights. The whole team saw it. Everybody sees it. And I think after that, I can't say they have a mutual respect because he's kind of even more of a butt munch to her. But he acknowledges her now. He understands, like, she's a force to be reckoned with. And they kind of start this begrudging friendship where she kind of tries to, like, push him and try to get him to warm up to her. And he's kind of, like, reluctantly, slowly, like, you are kind of, like, he does things for, like, he really likes her. And then you're like, dude, do you even like her? And it's so slow because it's a Marian's father, but it's so worth it. The yearning, the will they, won't they, the does he like me, doesn't he like me? Because, of course, we don't get his point of view. But, yeah, and the press. Oh, my gosh. The press causing the drama. Because at first they're like, oh, rivalry. He hurt your brother. What do you think of him? And then as they kind of see them slowly getting together, then it's like, oh, y'all are having a relationship. He's showing you favoritism. Scandal and her whole team turned together. It's a whole thing. But it was worth it. Like, a chunk. Like, 500 pages, I think it almost was. 5 stars. Steam was light, of course, because they didn't hunch until, like, the second half of the book. But I do plan on reading Mariana Zapata's new release. I think it came out yesterday. Or today. I gotta go look that up. But that is all for my April reads. Thank you so much for joining me on this. I'm pretty sure this video is so long. so long. I hope you watch it to the end. I appreciate you all.